Hello everybody, this is Sean once again for TightPoker.com, and today we have a devoted follower of the videos and the site. His name is Trigalos, and he plays 10 no limit, so it's 5 cent, 10 cent. It's kind of a beginning stakes, and he just wanted to go over some hands, and so he sent me some hand histories. We're going to be going over them. He ran pretty well, so we won't see any glaring flaws, but after this we'll also look at some of his Holdem manager stats and see what areas he might want to look at in terms of showing success with some of the better players at maybe some of the bigger stakes. But you don't want to necessarily compare yourself when you're playing 10 no limit to a player playing 100 no limit because obviously the games are vastly different. Let's get into the first hand here. So the first hand we got here, pocket kings. The blinds kind of disappeared, but that's fine. And so first raiser, 4 times big blind, so good for that guy. And so we've got a 3-bet here, and I don't like the 3-bet size. Although this guy, he's folding, and we see the 3-bet size here, and 50% fold to 3-bets. You can't let that dictate your action at this point. So if he's raising to 40 cents, although 10 times the big blind is a default 3-bet, I just at least make it 3 plus the big blind. So I think $1.20 to $1.30 is more appropriate. And you might say, well, come on, what's the difference? 30 cents. But at this stakes, you're looking at 20% difference in the pot. So, that's why. So it'll get folded around, and this guy goes ahead and flats the 3-bet out of position. So for those of you learning, don't ever do that unless you're trapping with a monster. I guess, if you had aces, there's a case to be made, but even if you had queens or jacks, you're going to want to 4-bet and find out where you are. Or you're betting for value. But calling a 3-bet out of position is just a huge mistake because you're really just screwing yourself post-flop. So we've got that queen jack 7. It's a pretty good flop, although queens and jacks just got there, which you see a lot of the time when someone 3-bets, or excuse me, calls a 3-bet out of position. It's usually ace king or something like ace queen, jacks, queens, 10s, sometimes 9s even. But I mean, that's I'm 100 no limit regular, so playing these stakes, I'd get it in here for sure. So he checks, and we're definitely c-betting here. $1.75, $1.50 at minimum, $1.20. So I'm seeing a small bet sizing here, and Triga needs to pay attention to value betting, and you're betting here for value because you're ahead. I mean, at least a lot of the time. And $1.20 to $2.15, you're kind of begging for a call, and even if you get called, you're given okay odds for someone on, say, a combo draw for sure. But even just a flush draw to definitely call you, even though you might have one of the outs. And I'm guessing he does a really weird raise. Haven't seen this kind of stuff in a long time, so it's kind of funny. But here you're just jamming, like no need to min raise or anything. Like this guy's getting it in, and so you just flat behind Triga, which I just think just get it in. Why let another card come out that's gonna maybe scare you into folding at this point? Which could be a 10, it could be a 9, it could be even a king or an ace, or any diamond, and there's just a lot of scary cards that could come for you. And that's absolutely like the best card that could have come on the turn because it doesn't change anything. This guy's still got to feel like whatever he has is going to be good, and it didn't let any of the draws get there. And so he bets, and I'm praying you get it in here, which you do. So he calls and shows ace queen like I called. So good to know my hand reading abilities at 10 no limit are still pretty good, and it looks like you held up, which you do. Okay, so now we're going to the next hand. Pocket 2s in full ring. Now, people are going to think me crazy, but especially when I'm under the gun, I'll actually just fold 6s and lower. Just too often you're getting isolated by a 3-bet in position, and you're just getting really crappy odds to set mine, and you're out of position, and it's just bleh. And 2s are kind of like, when you're here, it's just like, okay, well, maybe I can start playing them. But if I even see like some really aggressive players, I mean, at these stakes, there's a case to be made just kind of limping in. Because I remember I used to do that at 10 no limit and 25 no limit, and it's just a terrible thing to do when you actually play against players that like to raise pre-flop, but I'm seeing there's not one single person who has PFR over 7. So that's ridiculous. So you can actually get away with limping in a lot of cases. So let's find out what you did. And so the raise is fine. I remember at these stakes, the like 10 no limit and 25 no limit, I always advocated 4 times the big blind. So I'll continue to do that, but 30 cents is fine. It's not a huge deal. So you get 3-bet, and let's see. This guy, a bit of a short stack. He's a rock. We see he's an 8-4. Although his 3-bet is 7%, it's just such a small amount of hands, and he's raising here. So this is an automatic fold. And the reason why is that, I mean, you can't call because there's enough money to where he's going to jam the flop, no matter what it is. Pick any 3 cards out of your head, he's gonna jam it. And unless you hit a set, you're not good. And if you jam on him, I don't think you have any fold equity because there's enough money for him to get it in. And if he does call, well, you're behind every single pocket pair, and you're a coin flip against any other 2 cards in the deck. So, yeah, I think you just have to fold, and I have a feeling you jammed. So if you just want to go flipping, that's fine, but a lot of the time you're not going to be good because any pocket pair beats you as well. And so he calls and shows aces at the top of his range, and so he holds up. Okay, here we are, and just love to have pocket pairs in late positions. Just so much fun because you can be the initiator and isolate and outplay people post flop with your position, or you can hit that set and you will be paid off handsomely, especially in late position if you haven't just kind of limped in and it's kind of obvious to some people who might be paying attention. So we get a raise, and so in this position, unless you've got someone who loves to fold to 3-bets or even not, this is a call. I wouldn't necessarily 3-bet this, because if you do 3-bet, I mean, this is where it gets really debatable. If you 3-bet him and he calls, then you better be able to play in a 3-bet pot post flop, which is fine. I mean, you've got position. You can outplay this guy. Usually, a solid C-bet takes it down, especially at these stakes where it's fit or fold. Either they hit it and they jam, or they fold because they're scared, and you C-bet it and you take it down, which is fine. The other side of the coin, the other kind of side of my thinking is that you want to get paid off a lot of the times with these pocket pairs, and so you just call behind, and you're getting plenty. This is perfect odds to be set mining. So when you're behind here, you're taking position away and you're set mining. So you can still, I mean, there's a lot of different ways to win this pot. So you go ahead and call. That's great. And he calls, and you're actually hoping for everyone to call here because it just gives you better and better odds. And although you might be a little scared of set under set, it's just something you're going to have to take because a lot of times people will shove at these stakes, top pair, top kicker, top pair, no kicker, or even an over pair a lot of the times, even at 100 no limit plus. So you have an overpair as well as a gut shot. It's not a great spot because pocket 7s and higher beat you, 2 pair, and then you're not doing too well against flush draws, and you got to figure someone has an ace, so they're on a gut shot. So we have a bet here, and you don't go away, which I don't mind. But you got to feel like, if this guy's playing something like ace king, ace queen, you got to figure if another rag comes on the turn, you got to take it away from him there. And so you actually hit your gin card. So you got to be scared of the other draws out there with hearts and diamonds, and be prepared that he's probably going to get it in, especially if he has an ace and you're way ahead. But if you're in a 60-40 or 70-30 position here, you just got to live with that if he draws out. But you're getting it in at this point. The point. 180, that's fine. Time to raise, and I'd probably go ahead and just put $5 in here, and you just go ahead and jam, which is great. That's totally fine. You're betting for value. You've got the straight. Although 67 beats you, that's just the way it is, and I think that's fine because a lot of the times this guy's just playing like ace 10, and so he calls, and he called you with aces. Wow. And so he did have that ace hand, but it was no good. He hit his set on the final insult was that he hit the set on the river.